Hey beauties, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm getting ready for the day using new makeup I recently purchased from Sephora during the holiday savings event. These are some of the hottest new launches of 2023, so I am going to share my thoughts as I get ready for the day and put together some sort of makeup look. I cannot wait another second. I'm starting with this foundation. This is the new Haus Labs Triclone Skin Tech Foundation. I have heard nothing but rave reviews. In fact, I don't even think I've heard a single neutral review of this foundation. It's supposed to be amazing. I ordered online and I went with shade 250 light medium neutral. I did swatch this the other day when I unboxed it and I think it's going to be a really nice shade match, so we'll see. It's supposed to be a medium coverage, weightless, clean foundation with fermented arnica that helps reduce redness and protects from environmental stress. It also has a proprietary blend of medicinal herbs that promote healing and calming and a blend of super antioxidants to help protect the skin. Looks very luxe, and I'm using all of my Sephora Pro brushes. These are 30% off during the savings event. This is the 47. I like this one because it's a tapered paddle. I need a mirror. I'm also using the Patrick Ta eyeshadow palette, and I need a mirror, so we're gonna take off the protector. There we go. I'm testing out the new YouTube shopping program, so I'm going to link all of the products directly to the video. You should see a little photo pop up. I'm going to use timestamps, and then all of the brushes are going to be linked down in the description box. Hopefully that will make things a little bit easier, but let me know which you prefer. I'm starting with just half of my face so I can compare, and I can really take a look at my skin. Definitely add some color. I never like to sunless tan my face. Every once in a while I will. I actually purchased the Dior Sunless Tanner and I like it and it works really great. I just forget to use it and I use a lot of tretinoin and retinol in the evening anyway, so it ends up brightening the skin and removing the sunless tanner, but I still think it's a nice shade match. If I were to move back and compare with my whole body, I think the color looks good. It looks really nice. Again, I like the thin consistency because it seems like it has really good coverage. I would say this is medium buildable coverage, but it doesn't feel really heavy. It's not thick on the skin. Maybe the real magic is how it wears throughout the day, because as much as I really like it, I don't know if it's rocking my world or really blowing my mind. I don't necessarily love how it looks on the pores. Not a terrible foundation, but it's not giving me a ton of smoothing or blurring. I'm going to keep applying to the rest of the face. I had a facial just a couple days ago. It was a hydrogen facial, which if anybody has had one of those before, you know it leaves your skin looking very radiant, glowy. It does help to minimize the appearance of pores in my experience. It was pretty intense, and she did extractions, mostly around my nose. The extractions were fine, but I think the device itself was a little bit rough. So I had a couple like broken capillaries or broken blood vessels, a few places on my skin that were really red and inflamed, and they're starting to go down, but I can still see them. Like there's a pretty big one right here. But the foundation did a nice job covering. I wouldn't say I get facials that regularly. I basically wait until my skin is really going through it and I need some additional help. But maybe twice a year I go in for a treatment. And I normally really love the HydraFacial. My very, very initial review of this Haus Labs foundation is that I like it. I don't really have any severe complaints. There's nothing to take note of that is offensive in any way. And I certainly don't mean to be a contrarian. I just don't think it's that groundbreaking. I don't know. I think it looks nice on the skin. I look very radiant. I don't think it's amazing for anybody with large pores or oily skin. I think I have other foundations in my collection that I like more, that I prefer. I'm definitely glad I waited for the discount and I did not purchase right away. It looks pretty good. I'm excited to see how it looks with finished makeup, and then also I'm excited to see how it lasts throughout the day, because I have heard people say at the end of the day my makeup still looks amazing, it's this Haus Labs, it's so great. I want to hear your experience with this foundation. If you've tried it, let me know, because I feel like I've heard a lot of opinions from other content creators, TikTokers, YouTubers, other influencers, but I'm wondering if people who don't create content or create makeup content feel the same way, feel as positively about it. It has great reviews on the Sephora website. And again, there's nothing bad about it, but I don't know. I guess I was expecting something really outrageous. It could be that I just had a facial a couple days ago. Maybe I'm having a bit of a purge moment. I don't think it's doing much for the texture of my skin. And that's not normally something I struggle with. The next product that I've heard nothing but rave reviews on is this Gucci concealer. This is the Concentré de Beauté Multi-Use Longwear Concealer. And I went with shade 11C Fair. This is the lightest shade, and it looks incredibly light. I love the packaging on this. Very pricey. Another product that I'm glad I waited for the discount. So I'm just gonna do 3 dots. I'm gonna try my normal technique, or the technique that I have been using. 3 in the middle. This is the Pro Concealer 71 brush. Oh, you know what? It blends out pretty quickly, pretty easily. I'm gonna do my best to just sort of tap this around. I don't think that is gonna be too light after all. Perfect. I'm not going to completely blend this out. I just wanna let it sit, sort of dry down on the skin a little bit. Now the concealer I'm really liking so far, just because it's brightening, but like the foundation, it feels very thin. Okay, I'm just gonna let this sit for a minute or two, and then I'm gonna spritz my face with some setting spray. This is hands down the best setting spray I've tried. This is the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Setting Spray. This is the Jumbo. I just finished my mini, and they have a really great holiday set right now that comes with 2 minis. I'm already impressed by how blendable that concealer is. I thought maybe it would be really thick and go on a bit like paint. Now I'm going to finish blending, although I don't think there's much left for me to do. Now that looks really nice and smooth. Ooh, the concealer is living up to the hype so far. It's still very early to tell, but I'll tell you what, I definitely have some real fine lines under the eyes. Doesn't matter how much Botox I get. Doesn't matter how much eye cream I slather on my eye. The fine lines are just there. That's the way it goes. But this is not settling into the lines at all. It's not emphasizing the lines. I love the concealer. It reminds me a little bit of the Armani Luminous Silk Concealer. Kind of similar, except I think the Gucci has a little bit more coverage, which is great. I love the finish. I love how easy it was to blend. It gives me brightness. Doesn't have a ton of coverage, but it covers enough. I'm happy with it. Risa was right. I think it was Risa from Risa Does Makeup. She has been raving about the Gucci concealer, and I thought to myself, well, if she really likes it, then I'll probably really love it as well. I have one more cream product here to apply before I go in with any powders. This is from Pat McGrath Labs. It's the Divine Blush Legendary Glow Color Balm in the shade Divine Rose. I also have Forbidden Fleur. Both of them are beautiful, and I really like the balmy texture. I like how you can use a brush or your fingers to apply. When I visited New York recently, a couple of weekends ago, I took this with me. It's just very convenient for travel, and I love the color. Anything in Divine Rose, but it helps that if you have the lipstick, the lip liner, the other Divine Rose products, you know everything is very cohesive. So I'm just tapping a little bit of this on with my fingers, and then I'll blend it out with a brush. And it is buildable if you prefer a little bit more color. I'm going directly on the brush now. Just tapping that on the cheeks. And do you see the glow, how it reflects light? So pretty. Especially if you're somebody who doesn't like a really shimmery highlighter, you could just go in with this and be done. For setting powder, I'm going in with another new product. This is from Huda Beauty. It's the Easy Bake and Snatch setting powder in the shade Cherry Blossom Cake. So I am just going to go in with a brush, not the sponge that comes with it, and very lightly set the concealer. Ooh, very pretty. I don't want to cover up the glow from the Glow Bomb, so I'm being very careful to just set the under eye. I like that this pressed powder has a very light pink undertone, but it's not too pink. But it gives a very fresh-faced brightness. Now this looks very smoothing on the skin, which is helping the foundation. I have to tell you guys, as much as I love Halloween, because we moved into the house only a couple months ago, I feel like we're still dealing with house stuff. We haven't really been able to get into the holiday spirit just yet. I'm excited for it to be over. Christmas, I'm going full throttle. Tomorrow morning, the first thing I'm going to do is take down everything that we put up, and I'm going to start getting ready for Christmas. In fact, the Christmas tree might even go up this weekend. I'm so excited. I'm going to warm up my skin using the bronzer from my Hourglass palette. This is one of the customized palettes directly from the Hourglass website, so it's in the leopard packaging, but I will leave the title of the correct packaging for you. I just happen to really like this bronzer. It's kind of the perfect shade for me. I don't know if it's my favorite color story because they were all really good this year, but it's definitely the one that I've used the most so far. I think I'm already starting to put a dent in the bronzer, which is a good thing. I don't have any other new highlighter, so I'm going to use the strobe powder from this palette as well on a little precision brush. This is actually a little eyeshadow brush, but it works perfectly. Just a little bit on the tops of the cheeks. That looks so pretty. Ooh. This is so pretty. I know these palettes got really expensive this year, but as long as it's something you're actually going to use, I think 6 powders for $90, then the discount, it's not terrible as long as it's something that you use because they really are so flattering. This is another product that I have been so excited to finally test. It's the Patrick Ta Major Dimensions 3 Matte Eyeshadow Palette. And it's my first eyeshadow palette from Patrick Ta. This is obviously the third since this is number 3. I haven't tried any of them. I've always heard really good things. I've just never been incredibly drawn to large eyeshadow palettes, especially not recently. But what I love about this palette is that it's all matte. The top row has warm tones. The bottom row has cool tones. You have a cream brown and a cream black down here. I like that it's neutral. I like that it's somewhat boring of a palette because these are colors that you're going to use every single time you do your makeup. Very comparable to the Makeup by Mario palette. There are a few other palettes I can think of that would be similar to this, and the Mario palette I keep in my top drawer. I've heard actually that these mattes are a little bit creamier than the Mario, so I'm still excited. I'm starting with a fluffy brush, and I am going to go into this center shade up at the top right here. I was lucky enough to attend the Patrick Ta Masterclass when I was at Sephora in New York City, and it was amazing. He has so much charisma. He has such a charm and an energy about him. He just puts a smile on your face. You can tell he really loves what he does, and he's so talented. It was a really quick masterclass. He had to work very quickly on the model, and I think I was just in awe of being in his presence. So I don't remember any specific pearls or tips, but I basically recorded the entire thing, so I really need to go back through my phone and watch the videos back again, see if I can pick up any tips. One thing that I noticed that he does, and I noticed this with Mario as well, is they always take their time and they start with less product and they build very slowly. So even if they're doing a very dramatic look, it takes them a long time to get there because they go very lightly, then a little bit darker, then a little bit darker, then a little bit darker, which I think makes perfect sense. See, for me on a daily basis, I'm pretty low maintenance with my eyeshadow. I want it to be just quick and easy. I'm not taking my time to slowly create a smoky eye. 2 or 3 eyeshadows and then I'm done. And even that I think is a bit more complicated than most people. That was already easy to blend, but I'm going back quickly with a blank brush just to make sure everything is softly diffused. It's so soft to the touch, you have to be careful whenever you dip your brush in. I have a little precision brush right here. I'm going into the same color And I'm just going to buff that beneath the lower lash line, keeping it pretty simple, very wearable. With a flat brush, I'm going in with the lightest shade on the top. So this is more of a cream, whereas the white down here is a little bit more of a true cool white. This one is more of a buttery ivory, I would say. And I'm going to tap that on the inner lid. Same thing on the other side. I'm really impressed with the quality of these shadows. I like how smooth it is. I haven't experienced any fallout with the fluffier brush, with the flat brush. And I like how easy it is to pick up the product as well. I really like warm neutrals, so I could basically just live in the top row and not touch anything else in the palette. I do want to play around a little bit, so with another brush, I'm gonna go into this shade right here. Bottom row, second shade in. I'm picking this up, and I think I'm gonna dust this on the outer half of the lid because it's a bit cooler. Even though it's a lighter shade, it's going to create a little bit more of a shadowy effect because it's cool. That way I don't have to go dark, but I'm able to contour the outer V area. I love it. I also like how these matte shadows look on the lid. They don't look cakey, they don't emphasize any texture. My eyelids look very smooth with these shadows. And that's not always the case, even with mattes. Sometimes I apply a matte shade to the lid and it just looks crusty. It just does not look good. You know, dry and crusty. But I think because the shadows are a little bit creamier, they're just beautiful. It's simple. We aren't doing anything crazy here. But it's more the quality of the shadows that makes me excited than anything else. And right now, if I had to choose between this palette and the Makeup by Mario, I'm choosing the Patrick Ta. It's not really dark. If I wanted to deepen this up a bit too, I could always just go one shade darker to amplify. In fact, I do kind of want to see what that will look like. I didn't intend to go smoky, but now that we're playing around with this palette, I am just going to take a little bit of that deeper shade right in the outer V. I didn't tap my brush that time, so I do have a little fallout, but hopefully I can just sweep it away. And then finally, I'm going back with that original blank fluffy brush, and I am just going to blend one more time. Since we did add some deeper shades, I want to make sure everything is nice and soft, but that's it. We are going to stay completely matte on the eye today. We're down to the final touches and lips. I filled in my eyebrows off camera. I did a little liquid eyeliner on the top lash line. I did this House Labs eyeliner in the waterline. This is shade Bronze, Deep Bronze Shimmer, I think is what it's called. And then I did mascara, the Tower 28 Make Waves mascara. That's been my go-to. Even though I wanted to keep the eyes matte, I still like a little shimmer on the inner corner. So I'm using this little brush on the end of my eyeliner, and I'm picking up our strobe, this little strobe powder, and I'm gonna do just a little highlight right in the tear duct. I always think that looks really pretty. This is the nude lip liner that I picked up. It's part of Sephora collection. This is shade 01, the Nudist. So I'm gonna try this lip liner. I just wanna see what this looks like. I love how smooth and creamy these lip liners are. And I like that this is a cooler nude. It's actually gonna look like a true contour. I'm actually just going to apply this gloss. This is Daisy Donut from Buxom. I really like this nude gloss. I wanna see what this looks like. What do we think? It's very nude. I kind of like it. I don't know if it's my favorite nude combination, but I do think it looks fine. I think it looks good. The lip liner is maybe a little bit too cool for the lipstick that I wanted to wear, so I'm gonna take this off and I wanna add some color to the lips. Instead of the nudist, I'm gonna go with one of my all-time favorites. This is Creme de la Creme from Sephora. So same formula. And this is the YSL Candy Glaze in shade 13. This is so pretty. It's kind of a pinky nude. It's kind of a warm, pinky, nudie coral color. It's just really pretty. Oh yeah, and that goes with the lip liner perfectly. I love that they have mango butter or mango oil, so they smell kind of sweet like candy. It's basically lip gloss in stick form. Every time somebody walks by, I'm like, ooh, is that a trick-or-treater? So far, no one. Makeup is done. I just want to add a little more blush since it probably looks fine. I probably don't need any blush, but I don't know. I can't see it very well, so I don't know if I'm psyching myself out. No, I actually think the cheek is probably fine. I'm gonna add just a little bit more. I cannot help myself. Just a teeny tiny bit. Just to balance out the face, now that the lips are done, I feel like I need a little bit more blush. There. And this is the makeup look for the day. It looks very similar. It looks very similar to the makeup I normally do, but that's kind of the point. I don't necessarily want to completely change my makeup, otherwise it would be really difficult to judge. Now that my makeup is done and I can see the full picture, I'm gonna go through some of the new hot items that I used today and share my final thoughts on the first impression. Of course, it's still my first time using some of these items, so I'm not gonna judge too harshly, but now that I can see everything, I will say the standout product for me today was not the foundation, it's actually the eyeshadow palette. I've heard great things about this palette, specifically from my makeup artist friend Stephanie, who has been on Sephora Squad with me the past few years. She talked about how much she loves this palette, how she thinks it's even better than Mario, and she does a lot of bridal makeup. In fact, her before and after bridal transformations are some of my favorites to see. So I knew it would be good. But having used it myself, now I understand why people really like this formula. It was so easy. Everything blended effortlessly. There really wasn't a lot of fallout. These are great colors. I mean, the color story on its own, I think, is beautiful. If you don't already have a ton of functional palettes like this, you probably have all of these colors spread out among all of your palettes, but I think having them all together in one place is so functional. And I think of all of my neutral palettes like this is going to be the one that I grab the most. The foundation is really good. This Haus Labs Triclone Skin Tech foundation. So far, I like it. No major complaints. Hasn't blown my world. I think I have similar foundations that I like just as much as this. Maybe I'll change my mind. Maybe it will become a front runner. But right now, I would say I like the Makeup by Mario. I like my Tom Ford. I like my stick foundations. The Hourglass Ambient Soft Glow Foundation has been a long time favorite. That's a foundation that I've actually restocked because I used the whole bottle. I feel like I like that maybe a little bit more than this, and it could come down to my skin type because I do feel like I can definitely see my pores. Maybe that's my fault. Maybe I use too much. I actually just read a comment on my last video that said, don't use too much foundation. One pump is all you need. I used at least 2 pumps today, so it could be my fault. I'm gonna try it again and I will make sure to use less. That could be the problem. It could just be my skin. I'm not sure. It could be the fact that I layered so many products on top. I don't know if it is the absolute best foundation for my particular skin and what I'm looking for. This Gucci concealer seems to be really, really good. I don't have any signs of creasing that I can see underneath my eyes right now. I like the way it blended. I liked the brightness that it gave me. So it still might be too early to tell, but I feel like once my makeup is done, I usually know if a concealer is going to crease really badly on me, and this still looks really nice and smooth. This Easy Bake and Snatch Huda Beauty pressed powder, I like this. I don't know if I love it. I think the jury is still out. I'm definitely going to use it. I don't know if maybe it just comes down to my routine. You know, we have our way of doing things, and sometimes it's difficult for us to really branch out from that. I typically set my face with a loose powder every single day, so I'm not sure I would replace my loose powder with this. It may be something that I just throw in a bag. Maybe I take it with me if I'm traveling. I don't think this is going to replace my loose powder, as much as I really like it. This lip liner was really pretty. I did end up taking it off, but I still like it. It just wasn't what I wanted for today's makeup look. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch these just so you can see. This is the Nudist Sink or Suede Creme de la Creme. Creme de la Creme I wear all the time because it has a little bit of warmth, a little peachiness. I think it just goes with the majority of nude lipsticks that I tend to wear. Pinky nudes, it looks really good. There are other nudes as well. I really like these three. I may go back to the Sephora website and just see what other nude options are available because I love this formula so much, but they're all really pretty. And that completes today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed it and you liked seeing how I created this look and hearing my thoughts on some of these new products. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. Leave me your comments, questions down below. I'm always curious before the savings event ends, if there's anything really special that you've picked up that you would recommend to everybody, drop it in the comments section. I cannot wait to read your responses. As always, I will be linking everything mentioned. Everything on my face will be down below in the description box, as well as tagged to the video. And for more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell.